Push through to the flag holder! Based on the direction he was running from, he seemed to be the representative of the Myeongdong group. They had joined hands with the Dongdaemun. The Myeongdong representative, Kim Hyuntae, has used the additional effect of the red flag. It was someone who had already changed the color of the flag. Furthermore, it was red. In fact, the key to struggle for the flag was the color of the flag. It was from white to red, navy, brown, purple, and black. The flag provided increasingly better effects as the color changed. The Myeongdong group has received the buff effect of the red flag. Attack and defenses increased by 5% each. If the flag was already red, it meant he had already occupied one or more stations, or had killed the flag bearer of another station. Looking at his eyes, he seemed to have a pretty good fighting power. But he shouldn't have aimed for Chongmuro. The character Gongpildo has activated Arm Zone Level 6. The character Gongpildo has activated Private Property Level 6. Gongpildo didn't move too late. Trivial pups. I was glad I didn't have to use command rights. If this was the case, I could leave Chongmuro's defense to Gongpildo. The 8 mini turrets fired at the same tides toward the Myeongdo group running toward the flagpoles. What? Ah! Pieces of flesh flew through the air. Gongpildo truly was a scam. Huddle up! The Myeongdong group gathered together in a tight defense formation, but it wasn't enough to deter the shells from the Arm Zone Level 6. It was a rewarding sight that made leaving him to clear the emergency defense scenario alone worth it. How many shots were fired? The enhanced magic bullets caused the Myeongdo group to be riddled with holes and collapse. Gongpildo was scary as an enemy, but strong as an ally. There wasn't any information about this! Retreat! But there was no place for them to run away. Where are you going? The special option of Unbroken Faith is activated. The ether property is converted to fire. The ether blade that was made of flames created a wall of fire that blocked their escape. The moment that the confused people hesitated, Gongpildo shot at them. Pierce through! Quickly! The Myeongdo group representative was hit in the head by a magic bullet and the flag was released. Gongpildo's eyes shone as he found the flag. Sheesh, this brat. Do you want me to step on your back again? The running Gongpildo stiffened. Damn. I immediately picked up the flag that had fallen onto the tracks. Focus vanished from the eyes of the desperate Myeongdong group members. You have won the flag of the Myeongdong group. Your white flag has absorbed the cumulative achievements of the red flag. Your white flag has evolved into a red flag. I felt a stronger force swirling inside my body. You're one step closer to the King's Road. The flags after the red flag improved not just the abilities of the representative, but also the surrounding group members. Apart from overall stats or S-grade and above items, the flag was one of the few ways to improve basic combat power. Due to this, groups aimed at stations other than the target station. The other king candidates would have already entered a full-fledged war to change the color of the flags. The stronger they became, the more they could enjoy this world. The remaining members of the Myeongdo group are waiting for your decision. I grabbed one of the wounded Myeongdo members in the area and asked, "Why did you aim for Chongmuro?" I realized something when I heard Kang Il-hoon's words. It was true that Chongmuro had just opened, but it didn't make sense for them to rush in like they'd been waiting. The observations of the party and the strange look he made when he knew I was the representative. These guys knew about the station from the beginning. I brought my blade to the man's neck and asked, "Tell me, who gave you the information of Chongmuro?" The most likely people were the prophets. The guys I met in the theater dungeon mentioned hidden information that other people didn't know. I had been searching through ways of survival, but I never saw the group named Prophets. If so, who were they? There are two hypotheses. One, due to unknown variable, a new prophet appeared apart from Anna Croft. The second, besides me, there was another reader. Honestly, I thought it was probably the latter. The prophet attribute wasn't so easy to obtain. Furthermore, prophets was plural. Well, I could check it from now on. I looked at Gongpildo and said, "By the way, why didn't you act more moderately? Why should I show mercy to those running wild?" Gongpildo looked annoyed. Unfortunately, the people in the Myeongdong group weren't able to answer because they'd been hit by too many bullets. As soon as I asked them a question, they coughed up blood and died. In the end, I could only ask one person. I looked down at Kang Il-hoon, who was guarded behind Lee Hyung-sung. His eyes rolled uneasily while he was tied up with binding thread. Yu-sung, I asked, "Was everything planned from the beginning?" I thought there was a high probability. As soon as the station opens, two groups will unite and attack. It was a prior promise. Saying things with such a good face. Yu-sung's expression became dark. Are you sorry? There isn't going to be an alliance. A little bit. Don't believe in people too much. Things won't be as easy as you think in the future. I know. Still, if possible, I want to believe. I was able to come here because I believed in someone. Yu-sung looked at me. Hey, how long are you two going to talk? Quickly pry the information out. Jung Hee-won interrupted us. Indeed, now wasn't the time to give life advice. I released the thread blog in Kang Il-hoon's mouth. Kang Il-hoon was trying to stay calm. What will you do with me now? It depends on how much information you can give me. Are you basing the standards on usability? The guy talked back even more in this situation. There was no more to him than I thought. If so, I'd use the hard line method. Jung Hee-won said, In any case, the constellations seem as wicked. How about trying torture? Why bother with torture? Just kill him if he doesn't speak. Huh? I pulled out my sword, and without hesitation, Kang Il-hun trembled as he looked up at me. From now on, I will count to 3. If you don't open your mouth in that time, you will die. There's no reversal. I deliberately triggered pure white star energy and inserted the sword into the ground. 1. The ground was scratched with the power of the pure white star energy as the blade started moving towards him. Fragments of the floor flew toward his face. 2. The heat of the blade warmed his face as it approached his nose. In a short time, the ether blade would cut his eyeballs. 3. Dongma Station! I smiled. Torture? There's no need for that. Kang Il-hun gasped for breath and explained. The people from the Dongmyo station gave us the information about Chongmuro. Dongmyo? Who's there? Who was it? He called himself a prophet. By the way, this guy's condition was strange. His eyes were rolling and his tongue hung out like a dead person. I had an ominous feeling. Surely it wasn't suggestion. Yusangashi, hurry up and block his mouth with a thread. Fortunately, Yusanga's thread blocked this guy's mouth before it could close, using suggestion to control information from leaking. They were more meticulous than I thought. On the other hand, it was easier for me to solve the problem. Suggestion was a skill that could only be used face to face. I looked at Kang Il-hun and stated, "You're a lucky guy. If he was present, I could definitely identify one of the prophets." Before I went on a full-fledged search, I headed to the roof of the theater. He still hasn't woken up? Maybe it was because she didn't know I was coming, but Lee Jie shook. Yu Jonguk was still unconscious, lying on her knees. Jerk. He was the main character, yet he wasn't going through any hardship. Meanwhile, I was the tired one, despite being the reader. How is it downstairs? Don't worry and rest. Master, will he be okay? He'll be fine, although there might be some trauma left. Trauma? His mental state is more fragile than a child's. He'll be better after a bit of sleep. It sounds like you know a lot. I know him the best in this world. I spoke in a dry tone and pulled out some paper. I filled it with notes and handed it to Lee Jie. Don't read it, but give it to Yu Jonguk when he wakes up. Do you understand? I understand. She said so, but Lee Jie would definitely read it. However, Lee Jie wouldn't be able to understand it since it was filled with only things Yu Jonguk would know. By the way, did the information on this paper also look like blanks for the constellations? The constellation Prison of the Golden Headband hates blanks. Indeed. I was turning around when Lee Jie opened her mouth. By the way, can I ask you something? What? Earlier, with Master Najashi... Somehow I seemed to know what Lee Jie would say. Damn, Lee Jie heard as well as Jung Hee-won? I've been stupid. I only considered the constellations and never thought about the humans listening. Yu Jonguk would laugh at my stupidity. What was a good excuse? Well, that you two... What? I decided to feign ignorance. Lee Jie's expression became more serious. I mean, Ajishi's words. So what? Wake up, you jerk, don't fall for those sentiments. Lee Jie imitated my voice and shouted. I felt embarrassed in suddenly hearing my words emerge from someone else's mouth. For the first time, that determination, have you already forgotten? Wasn't something strange? This child, she almost heard at a filtered level. I came because of you. Why are you alone? We are together. No, wait a minute. I've always been around you. Don't lose hope. Think of the child. That isn't what Why did I come here if you're alone? I stared at Lee Jie for a moment. No, how did she hear it this way? Something like that? Ajishi, you and Master. I sighed. Think what you want. Indeed. Don't worry. I'll give him the love letter. I shrugged and turned around. Behind my back, Lee Jie's bullshit continued. Wait, how did you give birth to a child? Ask Yu Jonguk. Yes, Yu Jonguk. I leave everything to you. The next moment, indirect messages exploded in my head. Some constellations are greatly affected by the truth of the filtering. The constellation Prison of the Golden Headband respects your taste. The constellation Demon-like Judge of Fire likes your comradeship. The constellation Secret Plotter thinks it is ridiculous. 600 coins have been sponsored. Damn, there were other idiots. In any case, I told Yu Jonguk what I needed to. I hurried through the theater. During the time Yu Jonguk was the sleeping prince, I had to give him as much benefits as possible.